Hello readers, and welcome back to Tell Between Tales. It has been a while since we have recorded anything. It got a little bit crazy over here, and as naturally is wont to happen, my 12-year-old, who is now 13, has decided that maybe YouTube is not the best activity for her. Once, of course, you discover all the work and effort that goes into it. Also, I think that the topic of the channel wasn't her preferred topic. And so things got a little crazy, and I kind of had to decide what we wanted to do with the channel. And I still really love reading, and I still really love talking about books. And I think that it would still be really fun to be able to discuss books with you. And it can also help me to process the books that I read and give me an outlet of discussion as well. My last two videos that I uploaded were videos that we had recorded a while ago. And so this is our first new video that we're recording. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to catch you up with where I've been and where I'm going. And then next week, I would like to do a reading journal flip through for you. All right, so over the past several months, I've picked up a few new hobbies. One of the things that I've picked up that I've really enjoyed is reading journals. So this is my reading journal, and next week I would like to post a video where I go through my reading journal and show everything to you. And you can YouTube a lot of different videos about reading journals and setups. And I had to decide if I wanted to make my own in a very creative way, like this is just a blank bullet journal, you can see, or if I wanted to get something that was a little bit more structured and had already templates already worked up for me. And I decided that I was going to go this route because even though I do not draw, I am a terrible artist. There's a lot of other ways to be creative in your reading journals. And so if this is something, when we go over this in our video next week, that you're interested in, then don't be afraid to pick it up and give it a try, because there's lots of different ways that you can express creativity. The other thing that I have been watching a lot of videos on is book annotations. And I have yet to really get into book annotating. I tried a little bit on my Kindle. This is my new one. I got a new Kindle, yay! But I tried it on my old one and it was really cumbersome. It took a long time for the highlights to load and for the annotation boxes to load and even for the letters to type everything in. And so digital annotation wasn't really something that I enjoyed, and I haven't yet tried it on a physical copy yet because I'm just a little hesitant to write in my books, and I also don't read a whole lot of physical copies. I read mostly on my Kindle, and I've been doing a lot of audiobook reading these days through Audible and through the Libby app. And so I don't have a lot of physical copies, but I did pick up this book at Costco I ran into, and I said, well, this looks like a good annotation book. So I will make a video where maybe like a reading vlog, if that would be something you're interested in, where I go through and I annotate this, and then I can tell you about my experience and what I thought. I picked this book up because it just kind of looked like a book that was asking to be annotated. It's not overly fancy, and I just really like the way it's printed. So this book is about a group of girls who are kind of tired with their everyday ordinary life, and they just wish that they were in the stories that they were reading, and they stumble across this bookshop, and it sounds like they get sucked into the books. It just says that they find themselves transported to a world of wonder where nothing is as it seems. So this sounded like a really fun book to read and to try out annotating. I do have some annotating supplies. I do have the highlighters that everybody recommends. They're pretty cheap on Amazon. I did get the neutral tone palette because it seemed like that would be a really good way to start. There's people who color code their tabs and their highlighters and everything, but I just went with a nice neutral palette, which I've actually been using a lot in my reading journal as well, and you'll get to see that in next week's video. So this has actually been very, very useful, and even though I haven't even annotated anything with it yet, but one side is the chisel tip, And then the other side is the point tip. I actually haven't used the point tip a whole lot yet. I've mostly just been using the chisel tip, but it's been a little bit more on the artistic side versus the annotative side. And then I've just really loved these pens. I've been thinking of getting just a pack of these pens that come with these. These are the Zebra midliners, and I'll put a link to them. I just got them off of Amazon. And so I really just like these click pens. They write really, really nice. And I've really enjoyed those for my reading journal as well. So those are my two new hobbies that I've picked up. So I'm looking forward to doing a few videos where I get to explore those with you. So stay tuned for that. Oh, and then of course my tabs. You have to have tabs if you're going to annotate. And so I've got my tabs and I've got my highlighters, and I do have the pens. I picked up a couple G2 like .0, oh now I've forgotten. I'll write it up. It's like .0, I can't remember. 0.03, something like that. Millimeter pens that are really, really fine ink. So also the notebooks that I got are also from Amazon, and so I can put all of that in the description below if you're interested in any of that. So I have picked up a few extra physical copies of books over the last several months, which has been fun because I don't really pick up a lot of physical copies. So I'm going to go through those real quick. Obviously, you just saw my annotated book that I am going to be picking up and reading hopefully within the next few months. I do want to give that a try. I also went to the bookstore. I tend to go to the bookstore with my kids about once a year. We don't get into the physical bookstore all that often, but I did pick up Cloud Cuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr, and I am really excited to read this book. It is a pretty thick book, but that's never deterred me before. And so this book is over 600 pages, but the reason why I really wanted to pick up this book is because Anthony Doerr is the author of my favorite historical fiction, which is All the Light We Cannot See. And so I was very, very intrigued about his next book, and I'm very excited. This one seems to be, I really don't know a whole lot about it, and I kind of want to keep it that way. I can tell that it's multiple POV, which is really fun. It looks like there's more POV than his last one. I believe All the Light We Cannot See is just two-person point of view. And then other than that, I don't know a whole lot about what this book is about, so I'm going to go in fresh and without knowing a whole lot about it and a whole lot of preconceived notions, other than I know that I really liked his last book a lot, and I'm really excited to be reading this one. So I'm hoping to pick this one up within the next few months because that's been on my reading list for a very long time. And then I did pick up Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. This one is all over BookTube, and people are raving about it. It's described as a cozy fantasy and also romantasy. So there is a romantic plot in it where the main character, she is out studying fae, and these are not like the really hot, sexy fae that we see in a lot of fantasy these days. These are the dark and mischievous fae, and she is out studying them, and then kind of her rival comes along, and they have a lot of banter and back and forth, and I'm really excited to read this one because it's been hyped up a lot, it's been talked about a lot, and I'm thinking of doing a vlog style video, trying that out with these books, because I did buy the second one as well, The Map of the Otherlands, and I do believe there is a third book that is set to come out. I thought this was a duology, but it looks like it's actually going to be a trilogy, and that's coming out at the beginning of next year. And I bought these because they don't have them at my library, so I'm going to have to buy them either way. And I really, really liked the cover on them. I thought that they were so pretty. And when I was looking at the prices, the Kindle price and the physical hardback price were pretty much exactly the same. So I figured that I would go ahead and buy the physical copy just because I do really, really enjoy the covers, and I was kind of itching to read a couple physical books lately because I haven't really read any physical copies in quite a while. So those two I am excited to get to those. And then the other two books that I've recently picked up, I picked up Neon Ghosts by Daniel Green. He had a Kickstarter earlier in the year for this book that he published, and he is a huge YouTuber. And so I'm really excited to read this one too. This is more like a cyberpunk, almost like sci-fantasy book. And I'm excited that there's vampires in it, which is kind of funny that that's one of the things I'm the most excited for. And on the back it shows you the transformation from human to vampires. And it has a lot of interesting themes, like some cop vibes in there, some mystery, like solving crime type stuff, and then also taking place in more of like a sci-fi world. And some themes of one of the things he said that really piqued my interest was how advertising in this world has really gotten out of control, and it's to the point where they're even broadcasting advertisements into your brain as you're sleeping. And so it was a very interesting idea in how ad crazy our society is today, and that I'm very intrigued by this book, and I'm excited to read it. And so the last book, this one was an impulse buy. I've been seeing a lot of books, surprisingly, at Costco that are special edition that have these beautiful sprayed edges. And so I wanted to pick it up because it was pretty. That's basically all there is to it. There were 3 of them there, and I kind of tried to read through them and the synopses and see which one might work for me the best. And so I settled on this one. And so really the only thing I know about this one, besides that it's pretty, is what it says on the cover. And here is the opening. I guess there was a monster pact, and this girl goes into this library where this monster is residing and somehow breaks that monster treaty, and so that's going to cause all sorts of problems. And pretty much that's all I know about this book. I think this is a YA book, but I'll double check that, and if that's wrong, I'll put it up here. And so this one should be pretty fun too, and hopefully, since it was an impulse buy, hopefully it's good. I'll definitely let you know. So those are my new acquirees. the new books that I have acquired since we last checked in, and several of them are going to be on my up and coming TBR. So up and coming for September, before we do that, I should probably catch up with what I've been reading. So since we last left off, I've really been working my way through Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere. I've caught up with all of the Stormlight Archive books, and that was a feat. That really took a long time, with each book being over 1,000 pages, and getting through Stormlight Archive, it took quite a while. And after that, I've been working my way through. I'm now on The Lost Metal, which is book 4 of Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn Era 2. And I'm not sure if I'm feeling like Sanderson fatigue, which is I've just been reading so much of one author, but I've been having a hard time being motivated to continue on in the Cosmere. I've kind of been stuck on book 4 for a while because I've been reading other stuff. I've been listening to a bunch of stuff that came in through Libby. So I was listening to Spinning Silver, and I listened to The Starless Sea, and then I listened to Gallant. And all the while, I'm like, I really need to finish up Mistborn Era 2. And so I'm not sure if it's just because I've been reading so much Sanderson, or if I just haven't been enjoying Era 2 as much as I've enjoyed Era 1 and the Stormlight Archive. I'm not going to go into that too much here because this is more just kind of like a wrap up and review, and I would like to do a whole dedicated video on Era 2. And so coming up, hopefully in September, I would like to read Tress of the Emerald Sea. And I think because this is not Mistborn Era 2 and it's a standalone and it's very different, I think that'll give me a good clue as to whether or not I just need to take a break from Sanderson for a little while until Stormlight 5 comes out in December, because I definitely don't want to be like, oh, I've read too much of one author and now I don't want to read any more of this one author. I want to read other stuff, right? And so that'll definitely give me some good vibes to see if I need to take a little bit of a break there. But I am excited to get to Tress of the Emerald Sea. I do really like The Princess Bride, which is where a lot of the inspirations for this book has come from. And I am excited about all of the pictures and that I actually get to read one of my special edition books. I'm just opening it up here. These beautiful pictures, and of course the beautiful cover that I really like much more than the mass market paperback cover is the reason why I bought this book. It's because I hated the paperback cover so much, and I've just realized that if I'm going to purchase a book versus rent it from the library, I want it to be pretty. I want it to look nice. And so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So up and coming, we're definitely gonna finish The Lost Metal. That is my first priority. I got to get that book done. And then I do want to read Tress of the Emerald Sea in September. The other book that I picked up, just a little bit of backstory real quick. So I did mention I got a new Kindle for my birthday. Yay! Because my last one, the battery kept dying. And so I was like, okay, I need a new one. And so when I bought this one and I registered it, Amazon gave me a 3-month free trial of Audible, which I probably won't keep because my husband already has a subscription. And I do get so much from the library that I would just rather get it from the library. However, where that becomes a problem is if you're wanting to listen to something from the library that's popular and it's a really long book, it can be hard to get through that whole thing before you have to return it. And unlike with the Kindle books that you can just turn it off of airplane, you can turn airplane mode on if you're not done with it, and then you can finish the book. You can't do that through Libby with the audio because you have to be connected to the internet to listen to the audiobooks straight from the Libby app. And so with my first credit, I bought Stephen King's The Stand because it was, there we go, it was very highly recommended, and it is 47 hours and 47 minutes long to listen to. So I figured it was a pretty good bang for my buck, and it was not something that I was going to be listening to from the library. I don't know if I want to read a ton of Stephen King, but I do want to read a few of them, like more of his like really, really popular ones. When I was younger, I read Salem's Lot as a teenager because I loved everything about vampires. And so I read that one, and I read Misery because I watched the TV version and I thought that it was a really interesting book, so I read Misery. And then when I was about 22 years old, I did pick up The Gunslinger, and I read the first book, and I never progressed in the series, but everybody who's read it always says it's just the most amazing series. And recently I've come to discover that it's actually, his works are more widely connected, kind of like how, Sanderson has his whole Cosmere. Stephen King actually has, like, his books are all in, like, the same, I don't know, Cosmere, the same world. Like, they're all connected. And there's a couple books, The Stand being one of them, that is good to read before you read the whole Gunslinger series. And I would like to eventually give that one a try. So I did pick that up, and so we'll see how it goes. I kind of picked it up without doing a whole ton of research in it, so I'm hoping that there's not a lot of swear words because I can read a book and skip over them, but listening to it is a bit harder. So I'll definitely need to make sure I do a better job of that in the future and do a little bit more research before I spend my Audible credits. But I'm only going to have 3, so it doesn't really matter too much. And so that's that one. So that's 3. So we've got Tress of the Emerald Sea, finish up the Lost Metal, and probably listening to The Stand. That's going to take me a long time. I don't know if I'll finish the whole thing in 1 month. We'll just have to see how much I'm inspired to do my cross stitching and to do chores. And yes, and then I do have a few library holds that I am waiting on, One of them is an audio one. It is, so some of the library books that just came up is Uprooted. Here it is in Libby. This one is by Naomi Novik, and I really, really loved Spinning Silver, and I've heard that this is also a great standalone, so I'm deciding if I want to borrow it now and listen to it, or if I want to start The Stand first, and I'm kind of leaning towards Uprooted because it is a lighter story, and I think it'll be more fun to listen to now, and maybe do The Stand when it gets to be a little bit more fall-ish. This one is 18 hours long, so it is about as long as Spinning Silver and The Starless Sea was. Also, I am waiting on The Fireborn Blade, which is only 5 hours long, and I'm really excited to get to that one too. And so whenever that one pops up, I'll probably just have to stop everything because my library only has one copy, and so it takes a long time for it to come up. I was listening to a different book when that one popped up the first time, and so I said deliver after like a week, and that was like 3 weeks ago, and it still hasn't popped up again. And so the next time it pops up, I'm just gonna go ahead and listen to it because it's only 5 hours long. So that's kind of what I have up and coming. And the last thing that I really want to get to into September is the Encyclopedia of Fairies. I would like to read this. It's not a very long book. It's only about 300 pages, so I know that I can get through this, and I'd like to film that, try my hand, I guess, at a reading vlog. And then we can also do Map of the Otherlands, probably in the same reading vlog. And so that is my reading list for September. Hopefully get through Emily Wilde's series, finish The Lost Metal, and read Tress of the Emerald Sea, or maybe start Tress of the Emerald Sea, and then probably listen to Uprooted on Libby. So let me know if any of those books sound interesting to you. I would like to do some dedicated reviews for the recent books that I have read, and I could definitely talk a lot about the Cosmere and Stormlight Archive, but there are a lot of videos already out there about all of that. And so let me know if you want to hear any reviews about any of the books that I mentioned, that I've read in the past, or that are up and coming. Make sure to check out next week's video because I think that's going to be really fun, going through a flip through of all of my reading journal. I'm really excited to get to that and to show that to you. But thank you, everybody, and we will see you next week. Bye.